Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Tuba Ansari and I'm delighted to have you with us today. As we begin, I want to start with a simple but powerful thought. We don't have a talent shortage, we have a guidance shortage. In a world full of opportunities, technology, and rapid change, the real differentiator today isn't access, it's direction. I'm honored to be joined by someone who deeply understands this space. Dr. Matthew, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Before we dive in, I would love for you to introduce yourself to our listeners, particularly through the lens of your mentoring journey. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tuba. Thank you very much. My mentoring journey, started off after I got into the world of corporate training. I got a deep inclination towards psychology. I started reading psychological and spiritual books in India. Eventually, I graduated to the world of leadership training, and there started leadership coaching. Okay, so I started off as a coach, spent some 2 to 3 years doing quite a lot of coaching for CXO levels. And from there, I realized that, okay, there is something much beyond this as well. And that's the time when I stumbled upon this subject, this topic called as mentoring. And please believe me, I mean, this subject caught me and it's very close to my heart. And the last 3.5, 4 years, I have been on a mentoring journey. And I have had the opportunity to meet some of the top level CXOs, transform not just their behavioral patterns or maybe their thinking patterns, but even their entire journey as well, making it more meaningful and purposeful for them. So I continue my journey, okay, and I'm still actively mentoring in the corporate world, and I'm really happy doing this job.
I'm glad how you have a blend of coaching and mentoring both. And I am sure that this entire series is, as we have it on the entire series on mentoring, by the end of it, we'll have a very different take about coaching and mentoring both. So
Okay.
thank you so much for your warm introduction. And we'll dive into our actual segment now. So, Dr. Matthew, when you look at professionals today, especially early and mid career, what do you think they are missing more? Opportunities or guidance, and why?
At this point of time, I would say they're not short of opportunities at all. They're short of guidance. See, we are living in the most opportunity rich generation in the history of mankind. Information is free, platforms are global, careers are flexible, choices are unlimited. But psychologically, too many choices without inner clarity may create confusion, anxiety, paralysis. So, from a mentoring and a psychological perspective, opportunity has value only when a person knows who they are, what they stand for, and where they want to go. Without guidance, opportunities may become distractions rather than directions. In the Indian context, in the ancient Indian context, we had this concept called as guru and the shishya. Guru means there's no exact replaceable word in English. It can be broken down into two words, gu and ru. Gu means darkness, ru means the person who shows you the path. So we had a concept of guru and shishya tradition, where the guru used to guide, not maybe tell, but guide, show him the light, show him the path where he should actually go from his experiential journey. So someone who can help see things more clearly, as against maybe doing things fast. So if you ask me, in organizations, I see highly talented people just struggling, not because they lack potential, but because they lack a reflective mirror, maybe a mentor who can help them align their competence with their conscience. So if you ask me upfront, yes, it's guidance more than anything.
So, I really loved what you said right now, and it got me back to my school days. When you mentioned the word guru,
Yes.
and I always, feel that it's very important how a mentor can shape, your life, your experiences, and guide you in the right journey. So, I think we all need to know that your guru is your mentor. So, going back to my next question, Mr. Matthew, so much has changed in how careers unfold. From your perspective, what makes mentor more critical today than they were maybe 10 to 20 years down the line?
Well, that's a nice question. See, what has changed is not just the career landscape. We need to be aware of this fact. It is the speed, complexity, and the uncertainty of careers. 20 years ago, careers were linear. Today, they are dynamic, disruptive, and they're deeply psychological. People are no longer confused about how to work. They're very clear about this. They're confused about what to become. Now, technology changes skills, markets changes roles, organizations change expectations, but human beings, they still need meaning, a direction, and an identity. And that is why, if you ask me, I personally am of the opinion that mentors are more critical today. Not just teaching resumes, but they are shaping resilience, judgment, self leadership. Very important that today, in this fast moving world, the role of a mentor is becoming more critical because we are running very fast. We are not able to see the horizon clearly. That's very important. And I'm once again reminded of a very strong Sanskrit shloka again from that word guru that we said. It says, Yatra nasti guru, tatra nasti gati. So 1,000 years back, we had this wisdom that if there is no guru on your path, okay, yatra nasti means if there was no guru, tatra nasti gati, then the progress, the movement, the development might not be very possible. So that still remains relevant here, that a person with that kind of experience still stands as a guiding light for you. So mentoring is becoming more critical. If you might get a feeling that, certain things are coming up, it is so fast paced, it is available in the books. In a way, yes, absolutely fine. But I think mentoring is developing more depth and more importance.
Lovely. I mean, I love the insight that you've thrown on that. So I would love to ask you this. Can you share a moment where a single conversation, like not a system, or a program, but a single conversation that has truly changed someone's direction?
So, from my limited journey on this particular planet, okay, I often tell myself, as an internal dialogue, people are not too far away from the border of transformation. Some of them are just one step away, some of them are two steps away. A good push can take them to the world of transformation. So, I had this professional, okay, I'll not name him. He was a CEO, of course, was extremely successful on paper, okay, fast promotions, great salary, strong performance. But internally, if you ask me, he was completely disconnected. Okay, so one day I'm sitting, I'm talking, I'm practically mentoring this person, and no KPIs, no goals in that discussion. Out of curiosity, I asked him a simple question: that, who are you becoming through this success? Believe me, there was a long pause, a complete silence. I could see him reflecting on this particular question. I found him lost for a moment. Then we continued that conversation. He comes back to me. He had some reflections later on. He said that, I've started thinking about that one single statement that you made, or the question you asked me, that who are you becoming? And he says that I'm noticing patterns, how my ambition was sharpening my skills, but it was narrowing my patience. How achievement was building confidence, but it was eroding presence in the personal life. And let me tell you, I think we had a 7 month journey, and after 7 months, he said, Dr. Matthew, that question made me redesign my career, not just my job. I'm a transformed human in front of you now, and that's what I felt, that one moment made that difference.
So it was basically a powerful question that
Yeah.
made him reflect about his journey. That's actually a really good change, that we see around in people. And I also believe, in my personal context, that people talk a lot about growth,
Yes.
And at times when you talk about the word growth, people usually feel that growth is equal to career growth. But we do not realize that it's also a personal growth. So even when I ask a lot of people, how are you growing? Do you think you're growing personally? They tell me that, yeah, I am growing personally. I have achieved this, I've achieved that.
Yes.
But you do not realize that achieving something as a part of your career is not a part of your personal growth. Personal growth is more on the side of your patient resilience and how you grow as a person. So I think our listeners should know that what actually growth means, and it's not only about career but also a personal life.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Absolutely
much of
perfect.
that insight. We talk a lot about AI, automation, and speed. In what kind of world, what is the kind of human guidance that only a mentor can provide?
Okay, the latest buzzword AI, and well, I'll talk about this a bit because I come from an engineering background. See, AI at its core, okay, it's an extraordinarily sophisticated system for processing inputs. Okay, it learns from patterns in data. language, and the behavior that already exists. In that sense, it's a culmination of what we have collectively fed into it. So we have given it huge data, and it is capable of performing some complex calculations inside and giving us an output. But the limitation is the input that you provide. Okay, uh, it can organize information, surface some insights, even simulate conversations maybe remarkably well. But mentoring has never been about information alone. Mentorship lives in context, presence, and a responsibility. Now, it's shaped by lived experience, by having made mistakes, carried consequences, having sat with moral ambiguities. A mentor does not just respond to what is said, but to what is avoided, what is feared, and what is unfolding over time in a person's life. AI can offer guidance. It cannot offer accountability, perhaps. It can reflect patterns. It might not hold care or ethical responsibility for another human. And perhaps most importantly, human development isn't linear. People don't grow through optimized answers. They actually grow through relationships, trust, and being seen over time. That's something I personally feel that no system built on past data can fully replicate. So AI will absolutely support learning and decision making, no doubt about this. It may even enhance mentoring to a great extent. It might not replace the human act of walking alongside someone or helping them become, not just perform. That capacity, I think, remains uniquely human. That's what I personally feel. One last thing, in this fast changing world, the biggest risk is not skill obsolescence, it's identity confusion, and mentors will help people connect their evolving skills, these enduring values. So I think that's where AI and mentoring can go hand in hand. The word replacement might not be the best word.
So basically, ChatGPT cannot be a guru.
Maybe eventually in the future, I don't know how complicated it will become. As of today, as I see Chat GPT, Perplexity, Cloud, I mean, I personally feel that it will have its limitations because it's based on the inputs that we provide. And based on that, it will give us an optimized answer.
Definitely. So, and let's say when a mentor is absent, that when there is no mentorship, what is the real cause? Like not only just to individual, but to organization and entire industry.
Wow, that's a very important question, and it's nice that we talk about this for a while. See, when mentorship is absent, the cost to organizations is rarely immediate, and that is why it is so dangerous. On the surface, everything can look fine. Targets are met, systems are run, people are performing, but underneath, something quieter begins to erode. Okay, without mentorship, organizations tend to produce competent but shallow leadership. You may have people who know how to execute, but not how to hold complexity, make ethical trade offs, or carry responsibility for others. So, in such an absence, decision making becomes narrower, more short term, more self protective from a leadership perspective. You will have to understand that they'll also start burning out, and they will not register this burnout. That's very important. High performers keep delivering, but they are emotionally exhausted, disconnected, increasingly transactional in how they relate to the work. There is output, but there will be very little ownership. When pressure rises, often performance is replaced by judgment. And perhaps the biggest loss is invisible. Silently, organizations, they stop developing people who can carry the culture forward. Talent becomes replaceable. Leadership becomes fragile. Institutional wisdom quietly disappears if mentorship is absent. So if you ask me, the real cost of not mentoring isn't something you will see on the balance sheet of a company. That's not going to happen. It shows up years later in fragile leadership pipelines, repeated ethical failures, maybe disengaged talent, cultures that look productive but might feel empty. So, lastly, if you ask me, mentorship is not a nice to have. It's how organizations preserve depth, judgment, and continuity over time. One last thing. For industries, the cost is invisible, but it is going to be massive. Burnouts, ethical dilutions, shallow leaderships, emotionally disconnected talent. There is a cost. If you ask me, there is a cost. It may be invisible, unmeasurable at the surface, but it will have long term impact. So that's where mentorship plays a very important.
Thank you so much for that insight. I just wanted to, touch base again on that topic and understand. So definitely, I mean, as you mentioned about that, there for an organization, this is an invisible cost.
Yes.
And we do see, in fact, we all of us keep hearing about burnouts these days. How organization, how employees, in fact, not only in the corporate world, but I hear this even in the academic side. A lot of faculties these days keep talking about burnouts, and trust me, it's kind of like shocking because the burnout is not happening because of the work pressure, but it's happening because of the crowd, the Gen Zs, the
Yes.
generational part. So, do you think mentoring can somewhere support in this?
Mentoring will be the only thing that can support now in this case, because currently we are living in a huge generation gap. Okay, like for example, if your parent and you, numerically, not numerically, if you look at from a broader perspective, the generational gap might be 10 years. Currently the generational gap, from a perspective, is around 30 years. Okay, they're talking very different, they're behaving very different, their values, their attitude, their belief systems are very different. Therefore, emotional intelligence, emotional resilience, understanding human behaviors is becoming very important, and mentoring will pitch in, to take care of this. And absolutely rightly said, yes, mentoring is going to be the next.
So, on a personal note, I just would like to ask you, what did mentoring others give you that your own professional success never did?
Okay, okay, okay. Very frankly speaking, mentoring gave me a lot of things. My success gave me confidence. Mentoring gave me awareness, consciousness. Okay, I can say I grew as a human. So when I saw people grow because of one honest conversation, one gentle correction, or maybe one moment of belief, I personally realized that influence is far more fulfilling than recognition. Mentoring just did not make me a leader, it made me a better human being. In the Indian philosophy, even in psycho-spiritual teaching, growth is not measured by what you accumulate, but by what you awaken in others. So when you mentor, your achievements end with you, but your values continue through others. So I mean, I personally have grown as a human more than a leader. So that's the one line I would like to.
So it actually connects back, to our, I think, last question on personal growth. So I believe that somewhere down the line, mentoring definitely helps one to, grow personally,
Yes,
and not just
yes.
as the career or on papers, but definitely the reflection part really helps us, to grow personally. So many people listening may feel, I'm not senior enough to mentor. If someone is thinking that right now, what would you like to say to them?
I will very gently tell them mentorship is not about seniority. It's about sincerity. Okay. So it's not that somebody can become a mentor and somebody cannot. You don't need 20 years of experience to guide someone. You only need an honest step to put forth and the humility to share with others. That's the core. Uh, again, in the Indian wisdom, we say that even a younger flame can light another lamp without losing its own light. So, if you have struggled, learned, reflected, evolved, you are already qualified to become a mentor in some way. So, mentorship actually begins the moment you stop saying, "Whom am I to guide?" When you start saying that, "Who can I help?" So, you don't need to be a master to mentor. That can be a wrong idea. You just need to be a little more aware than yesterday. And if you have that, you can share this with others. As I once again would like to say, if you have survived something, learned something, grown from something, someone in the world truly needs your story. So I would suggest go, get set, become a mentor.
So it's more about creating that impact.
Yes,
Nothing to do with your age, whether you're 25 or 55.
absolutely, it does not matter much. It's all about your experiences and how you have the intention to share and impact and influence the life of others.
I'm sure this will definitely motivate our listeners, and we will see, a bigger impact being created around the world with a lot of mentors. And finally, this is, I think, the most important question,
Mhm.
because a lot of people get generally confused with this one. So, how is mentoring, different from coaching? Because a lot of time people get confused. Mentoring is coaching and it's one of the same thing.
Mhm.
So, if you would like to, explain the difference between mentoring and coaching.
So, I mean, that's again a nice question, because when I started my journey into mentoring, it had a very vague clarity in front of. Now, with the limited practice that I have done, both in coaching and mentoring, I'll put it this way: coaching is about performance, mentoring is about formation. Now, in coaching, the assumption is that the person already has the answer. So coaching is asking structured questions that help clarify goals, maybe removing obstacles and improving the outcomes. Coaching is usually time bound, goal oriented, and focused on what you're trying to achieve. Mentoring is different. Mentoring assumes experience has value. A mentor doesn't just ask questions, they share perspectives, context, and their lived wisdom. The focus isn't only on what you're going to do next, but on who you are going to become over time. That's the marked difference between both of them. I often say this, Tuba. A coach helps you run faster. A mentor helps you decide which direction is worth running. Both will help. In mentoring, the conversation widens. We talk about identity, values, trade-off, long-term consequences, and this is my standard dialogue. Success isn't just measured by outcome, but by alignment. Whether the path you are on is shaping you into someone you respect yourself. Okay, so that's my mentoring. Now, the real risk isn't whether you choose coaching or mentoring. That is okay. The real risk is becoming highly efficient at moving in a direction you never consciously chose. So, mentoring gives you this direction. That's the marked difference between coaching and mentoring. Holistic development happens in mentoring.
So now that we've touched base that topic, so we're gonna have a quick rapid round, on mentoring versus coaching, and whatever comes in your mind first. I mean, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and whatever comes in your mind first, you can just throw lights on that. So coaching focuses on performance, mentoring focuses on
the person behind the performance.
Coaches help you achieve goals. How do mentors shape judgment?
Mentors shape the quality of the decisions you make while chasing these goals.
Okay. A coach meets you at your current goal. Where does a mentor meet you?
The mentor meets you at your inner crossroad. Multiple options, which road to take.
In a moment of failure or self-doubt, who do people instinctively look for? A mentor or a coach?
Ideally, a mentor, not for instructions, but for understanding, having a deep idea about the problem.
So it's again the guru connection.
Yes,
that we have here.
Perfect.
Coaching often ends when a goal is achieved, but mentoring continues. So why does that continuity matter so much?
Because goals end, growth never does. Mentoring stays with the person, not just with the achievement. So the person is ever evolving. So it's continuous.
Super. So by this, we come to the end of our podcast.
Okay.
And Dr. Matthew, thank you so much for not just your experience, but for your honesty and reflection in this conversation. It's been truly meaningful. And to everyone listening, if something from today's conversation stayed with you, don't rush, sit with it. Growth doesn't always come from big decisions. Sometimes it begins with one new perspective. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other.